Okay, a couple of preparatory steps for us. One, make sure there's no fibres hiding on the back, because what we don't want is for any fibres to get caught underneath that fusible backing, because they will cause us problems. The next is that it's clean, dry and flat, because we don't want any air bubbles coming in to ruin or catch. See how that's under there? That's going to be no good to us. Once we've done those checks, we're going to position our fusible interfacing with its adhesive side facing up, and then we're going to put our fabric with the wrong side facing down towards that adhesive. Then, with the iron set on 2, we're going to lightly press, just a little bit of pressure, small circular motions all the way across and back, and then we'll just go across, double check that nothing's going to lift up at the edges. I can see one there, so I'm just going to reposition and put the iron over it again. May as well do the whole thing while I'm here. And there we go, that's ready to cut now. So I have my machine ready and set up. I've already got a circle loaded on the screen, and this is my fabric. Now with this particular fusible backing, I generally put the fabric side face down to the sticky of the cutting mat. I've therefore then got the sticky of the mat and also the sticky surface of the back to hold the fabric in place while I'm cutting. Just bear in mind though that obviously if you are doing it this way, then generally you will have to flip anything like words or letters that you're cutting out, because that will be mirrored. And of course, if you are doing it this way, just make sure you don't press down too much, as this may tear and come off on your mat. If that does happen, just refer to this section where I'm talking about cleaning your mat with the wet wipes in order to get surface stuff off, and then you can basically tack it if you need to. So I'm going to position that onto my mat, doesn't really matter where, and I will use my brayer to make sure that it's thoroughly stuck down from edge to edge. I'll then load my mat, so it's up against this edge, underneath the rollers, and load. And then referring to my guide again, I know the mat because we've done that before, and this time thin cotton fabric except for quilt piece I'm looking for, because I have a backing on it and it says blade 4 and setting 4. So my blade I set in here, that's already on 4, and the pressure I load on here on page 2, second line down, pressure. I already have it set on 4 because I've been working with fabric to record a number of these videos, but that's where you would change that. I'm going to preview this, so scanner preview, in order to see where to cut that shape. So I can see on my mat that that shape is off the edge of the fabric, so I will bring that into the center there. If you need to change the contrast so that you can get a better view of the fabric, you can do that in settings, background, and then change one of these options here. So you can see that's a much darker background. To change it back, just repeat that and change it to the other option. Okay, we have everything set up, ready to cut, so we click OK, cut, and then we set the machine running. Once we've finished cutting, click OK and then unload our mat. And it's much easier to remove the outside first. So I will grab my spatula, stay there, grab my spatula, tease up the edge of this fabric, and then pull away the outside area. And then we have the perfectly cut circle. The backing is permanent, so that will stay on when you attach it to your project, but I personally like the cleaner edges for this. Great if you're going to hand sew some very fine lines around the edges.